I have the most incredible recipe to share with you guys. It's so traditional and it's so old school. It's bakute, tea braised pork ribs. Interestingly enough, there's actually no tea in the recipe. Now I did a really modernized, quick version of that on MasterChef, which did involve tea, but I want to show you the really old world, back at the roots of Singapore and Malaysia. I want to show you the really traditional spices and herbs that we use. It's incredible. Maybe a lot of these ingredients you haven't seen. The ingredients you see here can be tricky to get your hands on, so you can absolutely do a simplified version of this dish using black tea, soy sauce, and common spices. I've included the simplified version in the written recipe. But here are the really traditional herbs and spices that my grandfather used and passed down to my mum. Okay, hang on a minute. I know that these ingredients seem like this crazy, intimidating witch's brew of stuff, but I assure you together, combined with some pork and some seasoning, they create the most beautiful, delicious soup. I really want to get into the origin story of this dish, bakute, because it's quite special and it's quite cool. So you might have heard of something called yin and yang, right? Yin and yang. In traditional Chinese medicine, food can essentially be categorized very broadly into either yin foods or yang foods. What that means is yin is characterized as cooling or hydrating. Yang foods are the opposite. They're mostly warming and drying. I mean, typically you could think of this as, watermelon. Juicy, refreshing, cooling, versus like fried chicken. Super savory, kind of fatty, heavy on the protein, quite a heaty or warm food. Ideally, the body benefits the most from a balance of both yin and yang foods. And this is really cool because bakute is essentially that balance. It essentially captures all the cooling elements of different root herbs and yang elements of all these warm spices, the protein, the seasoning. And bakute was originated from this sort of energy-giving tonic. It's essentially a herbal tonic that was given to workers to set them up for the day. So it's a really cool origin. Clockwise from the bottom, we've got garlic, ginger, pepper, cinnamon, and red dates. These are all yang foods, helpful for the immune system and circulation. We've got shiitake mushrooms, which are considered neutral, and then those white wafery ribbons are Angelica sinensis, a type of ginseng, and it's typically recommended for women because it balances blood deficiencies. It's earthy, a bit bitter, but also a bit sweet. Then we've got this dark, toffee-like ingredient. That's foxglove root. It's a yin food and it has similar effects to Angelica. We've got goji berries you might recognize, a little bit more yin and sweet in flavor. The next ingredient is this coffee-colored, truffle-looking thing. It's Sichuan lovage. It's got a medicinal, earthy flavor and it's yang in nature. Then those long, skinny, creamy ribbons are Solomon's seal. Yin in nature with a sweet floral taste. Supposedly it helps with inflammation and kidney health. And the things in the center are star anise and clove, yang in nature. We've also got licorice root. This is neutral, but it has a sweet herbaceousness to it. So you can see how all of these different ingredients create a harmony between cooling and warming. And the ingredients are actually available in Sydney. I get them from the dry section of my local Chinese store. The recipe is actually so easy. I'm using pork ribs and a cut called the pork hand. It's that meaty ham part of the front legs. You could use belly. I blanch the pork hand to remove any impurities from the skin. It's literally 60 seconds in boiling water. I toast my dry spices, pepper, clove, cinnamon, star anise until they become aromatic. I add this to about 2 to 3 liters of water along with all the other herbs and spices, but I set the garlic aside. Bring this to the boil for about 10 minutes. Oh my god, it smells so good. Mum's on the couch and she just basically said it smells like growing up in Malaysia. That herbal, earthy yet sweet. So good. So it's been boiling for about 20 minutes now. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some light soy sauce in just to create some seasoning as well as a really pleasant color. It's actually already quite dark from all of those shiitake mushrooms and root herbs. Then add the pork hand in and turn it down to medium to boil for about 20 minutes. Then add the pork ribs and whole garlic bulbs. Boil for a further 20 minutes or until those ribs are beautifully tender. You could add a bit of sugar, but that sweetness from the herbs is enough for me. Top up the soup with water if you need and make sure you season it. And that's it, the OG BKT. Bak Kut Teh. It's so aromatic, dark and mysterious. I love it. That's heaven. Oh my gosh. Wow. Incredible.